60,000. Anyway, to make a long story short, the neighbor bought it for 115,000. So like in a day, I made $55,000. And I was like, I need more of these. I want to do this again, and again. And so, I mean, sometimes, you have, uh, things that happen. I just did a little subdivision that was 20 acres, and the people wanted to just sell their land, and they would love to have got 750,000, and I had a buyer at 600,000. And I looked at it and I said, if you let me subdivide this land, I can get you over $1 million for your land. And they doubted me a little bit. And I met with the whole family and we talked about it and I showed them my plan. And so the way I worked it was they still owed money on it. And we talked to the bank, and every lot that I sold, they got $50,000, but it went to the bank until they were out of debt. And then anything over the 50,000, I get to keep. But I had to set up utilities and put in the road, which it was out of the city limits, so we did road base. And so I sold the lots. I put the lots for 68,000, but I did unrestricted because you can't find unrestricted land. I mean, it's so hard. You can find it, but it's hard. And especially right now, everybody's putting restrictions that you can't have manufactured homes. So as soon as I listed those lots, they were all sold in 24 hours. Like I only listed one. I had them all sold in a day. I have people still, we have 4 more to close on because there was like a dip in it. And so I needed to fill in the dip. And I talked to the county, they're all doing all this construction. So they needed a place to dump their big bridges, the concrete and stuff from the bridges. And I let them dump it in my pit. And it didn't cost me $50,000 to fill it in. So
You sold $1 million in real estate in one day.
yeah, so they end up getting 1.1 million, and they have told all their friends about me, and like it's just so exciting, and I'm just super stoked. So then I have investors. I called on my investors. I said, hey, this is the thing right now. We need to find land that is unrestricted. So I found 75 acres that was unrestricted. And then we were going to put it under contract because I said we could get 35 lots out of this and do 2-acre lots, and make it unrestricted because Palm Harbor Home will buy all our lots. Like I have 23 buyers right now on standby for lots. And that's just from my one lot that I listed at Morris Estates. I called it Morris Estates because it was the Morris family. And that's another thing that helped them want to do the deal with me. As I said, you could have a subdivision named after your family, So anyway, I just found a piece of property on right off the highway, and it was so affordable, but the house is terrible. The foundation was terrible. So it sat there and nobody bought it. So we just bought 300, it was 390,000 for 9 acres, but I have buyers for all the lots. So I'll do a house with 2 acres and then 6 more lots. And the lots will pay for all of the land and the house is free. So the owner can either uh, rent the house out or sell the house, and I charge 25% of the profit. So they fund it, I do all the work, I teach them, mentor them if they want, and I get 25% of the profit. And that's my new thing. And I can't even tell you how excited I am about it. So all these people are buying manufactured homes because they're affordable. Are we starting? I know I'm kind of getting off on.
Yes, yes, no, we'll get started. Yes, so if that's a preview of Suzanne. So she's super passionate about real estate, but land specifically, she just sees deals differently. So instead of if you guys have a listing that has, 6 or 7 or 10 acres on it, reach out to her because she can let you see the lots in a different way, divide them and make a lot of money. What I love about what she does is us as realtors, typically we're so excited to coach and contract and mentor our clients for 3%. And she charges 25% of the profits. She's a business partner with them throughout the process and a consultant rather than just a realtor. So this is definitely worth mentoring and mastering. Suzanne, thank you for teaching us today about specifically working with manufacturing homes and how we can use that to make 7 figures in our business.
You are so welcome. And I'm super excited about getting to teach this because, a lot of realtors are struggling right now. And, and And this is really something that if, yeah, I know you're going to feel like, lost or not comfortable and, things like that in the beginning. So I don't mind working with people to help them, um, you know, feel more comfortable so that they can learn. And you're always going to learn. I'm still learning. Things change, but so we'll get started on this working with manufactured homes.
See if you can push like presenter mode. I think there's a presenter mode or play. Do you
Oh, is
see
it not
that?
going?
I know I can see it, but I can see your whole PowerPoint thing. Like if,
That's a, okay, presenter mode. Where
yeah,
is
or
that at?
just zoom in a little bit on the bottom right. See how you're at like 95%. See if you can zoom in more. If not, it's okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Is it because I have my slides up? I'm sorry, y'all. It's my first time to use PowerPoint
You're doing
this
okay.
week.
I can see it.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you the reason I started to do a manufactured home. I don't really do manufactured homes, right? Like my deal is to get land, move old houses on it, restore old houses. That's been my thing for the past 7 years. But lately, I have come across people where, like, I go to a little subdivision and you look up all the owners and you see if they. I use LandGlide. I'm going to bring this up right quick. And I'm going to bring up LandGlide. I know I've showed y'all LandGlide like 5,000 times before, but LandGlide is so valuable. It's such a valuable tool. So these are all properties I've looked up. And like, just for instance, that 20 acres that I subdivided, Morris Estates, it's right here. So all these are lots, just made it all into lots. And you can use this tool. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because our time will pass so fast. But you can use this tool and you can say, okay, I want to make my lot look like this. I mean, you can follow every little bit and you go, well, how much space did I use up? And I'm doing this fast, so it's not accurate, but then you go, oh, that's 1.2 acres. There's one lot, right? Or how long is the distance from the front to the back? And it doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in the state, 672 feet long. How much road frontage do I have? I mean, this program answers so many questions. And this property on Floral it's a yucky street, has like old trailer houses on it, and lots of not developed. I mean, a lot of them are not developed. It's all trees. You see this? So we go in and we click on the owner, and then it takes you to the county link and you can see what their mailing address is. And then you use White Pages and you call them. And I called all these owners and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was 5 of the 6 people here sold the lots for like 17 to 20,000. Then we go in and clean them up. Well, first of all, a friend of mine did 2 lots and he goes in and cleans it up. He says, if you can get me these lots, I'll pay you $1,000 per lot that you can get them to sell me. And I'm like, okay. So we started at 15,000 and got them for 17. He paid me $1,000. And I'm like, I could do that. Well, one of the people that bought one of the lots put a trailer house on it. And they kept asking me all kinds of stuff, like, how do you do your septic? And where would you put the trailer? And I said, if you're going to ask, I don't mind you asking me stuff, but you're going to have to use me as your listing agent to sell it if I help you do all this work on the house, even though I wasn't their agent when they bought it. So they used me. And then they go, we want more. And so I got this lot down here for for 20,000. And I went to the owner, I asked them if they'd sell it to me for 20,000 and they said they would. So I go back to these people and I said, okay, they're going to sell it to me for 20,000, but I want 25 for it because I want to make money on it, right? It's not for sale. It's not listed. I want to make money in the middle. So they happily gave me $25,000 for this lot. I didn't use any of my money. So I go to closing. Everybody knew what I was doing. I was very, disclosed everything. And so at closing, my buyer paid the title company $25,000 and we gave the seller $20,000 and then I paid the closing costs. So, I made $4,000 instead of $700 kind of thing. But then they wanted to do their utilities on it, which is kind of going off. I started bidding to put in their utilities because after you do this so long, and you wait on utility companies, you learn kind of how to do a lot of this stuff yourself. And so anyway, to make a long story short, this tool gives you all the information on their mailing address, where they live, which really helps you use white pages to find the people. So I love Landglide and I highly recommend it
So for
to people.
that person, they spent 25,000 on that lot. How much do
Mhm.
you think they spent? Are they putting a house on that lot?
Yeah, they put a manufactured home on it. Well, the one down the street, when we listed it, we had multiple offers for it. So I already had a backup buyer for the next house, you know. And so I have two ladies waiting for that house to be finished, and it should be finished next week, and they're going to buy it. So I already had a buyer, you know. And so by doing this, I learned that these manufactured home companies, Clayton Homes, Palm Harbor Homes, there's a lot of them. The cities are not allowing manufactured homes in the city limits anymore. You used to could do that, but almost all the cities, there's maybe some that will let you, or the lots are grandfathered and they had manufactured homes in a certain area, so they're allowing that. But most of all, when you're making new subdivisions, you are not allowed to put manufactured homes in them in the city limits. Also, people are selling their land, like they'll sell 5 acres or 10 acres and they don't want a trailer next to them, so they're putting deed restrictions, but you can't put manufactured homes on the land. And so if you go to look under on MLS for unrestricted and not in a flood zone, there's hardly anything. Like in the DFW MLS all around the area where I live, there was like two, you know, and something was wrong with them. One was landlocked and one was in a flood zone, or they're like 125,000 an acre. So I'm like, man, if I mean 50,000 is a lot for me to give, but I went to the landowner and I said, if you let me sell your land 1 acre at a time, you get 50,000 every time we sell. And then I called his bank. He said, well, call my bank. I don't know. I owe 300,000. I don't know if they'll let me do that. I think I have to pay the whole thing off. So I told the bank, would you do a partial release of lien on every acre? And you get the whole $50,000 until his debt's paid off. And they said, yes. I mean, so I didn't even know that banks could do that, but they can. And so for him, he got 50,000 off the top, and we had our first closing at 68,000. His wife was like, well, where's our 18,000? I go, no, you get 50,000 per lot, and I get everything over that because I have to pull it together. I had to do the replat. I have to do utilities. But
Quick question, because we have a bunch of realtors on here. Is there a contract or a form that you use for that? Or because you're not acting as a realtor, you're more like a consultant, you don't need any kind of agreement for that? It's like a net listing, but it's not.
yeah, I did an agreement with them that like a contract. I did like an owner finance contract where they're owner financing me the lots at $50,000 each, but I didn't close on them, if you will. I didn't close on them. I wasn't the seller. When we wrote the contract, they were the seller, and then I did an invoice for the difference. So I might have done an invoice for the road guy who did the bulldozer. It was $3,000. So at closing, 50,000 went to the bank, 3,000 went to the bulldozer guy, and 12,000 went to me. For example, I would just say, like that. I just did an invoice at closing, then title took it right out of the money before any money went to the bank. So title calculates the books, and then you make your invoice for the difference. And then some of them had a realtor, right? So the Palm Harbor has, like the manufactured home companies have their own real estate department. You can expect that. So the realtor fee, the buyer paid 68,000, the realtor fees, closing costs, all comes off the top. And you don't include the survey because you just had a plat, and they're going to have to get a new survey when they put the home on it anyway. And then title calculates what the difference is, and I do an invoice for that, but I still pay, like as a realtor, like when I list it, I still pay myself as a realtor. So EXP gets paid, the other realtor gets paid, all the money off the top, and I do an invoice for everything else as a contractor. So I guess, yes, we did.
Awesome. Okay, go to your first slide. We're excited.
Okay, so working with manufactured homes, finding the land and the home. Okay. All right, so investor notes. Okay, I put profit margins are so much greater if you can purchase several acres of land and subdivide it into lots. And then I used the same thing I just talked to you about, right? So I did the 20-acre one, for example. And you have to take away some land for a road. Like it was 9 acres for this one area and 1 acre was for the road. And then all the houses get a little over an acre. So I put a piece of land with 20 acres with co-op water can potentially yield 16 to 18 good 1 acre lots. You'll likely have an acre loss per every 5 or 8 lots for your road, unless you have a lot of road frontage. But a lot of times it's going to go back. So you'll have skinny lots or large pieces of land, and that's where LandGlide comes in. I just do a rough drawing and I send that to the surveyor and then we tweak it. A cost of $50,000 per lot respectively, based on the area, should bring a profit of about $13,000 per lot. And if you sold a lot for $73,000, Springtown, Azle, Weatherford area, that's so cheap. Like everybody's asking $89,000 an acre. So I made mine less than everybody else's. And yes, I could have possibly made more money, but mine didn't sit for 30 days. They were all sold in a day. And then I have back orders for people, which is funny. I have a back order for lots, like 23 people. It's like so exciting. I just am looking for land, right? So even for you guys out there, if you could find the land, I can work it with you. I have investors. You may have investors, and then we can work some numbers on that. So, but only if you're serious. I don't want to spend a lot of time, teaching somebody and then it's something that's not even, it's too far fetched or something, you know what I mean? Or they don't really have an investor. They're just talking kind of thing. Okay, some lots are grandfathered and you can put manufactured homes on smaller lots, but if you subdivide it all, you lose your grandfather rules and the rules of the state will now apply. So if you have co-op water, the state wants you to have 1 acre for a house with septic. Some counties will allow a half acre. Like you see these tiny little lots and they have manufactured homes on them. It's because they were developed before like 2009. But any new subdivisions, you're supposed to have 1 acre if you have co-op water and 2 acres if you have to have a water well. But you can have 1 water well share 4 properties. So and a lot of builders, a lot of people don't even know that. So they think they have to do 2 acre lots and you lose half your land. But you can do 1 water well and have a shared well agreement for every 4 homes and not be considered a community water company. You know what I mean? So 1 lot could be a premium lot. It has 2 acres and the water well is on that 2nd acre. And then the next 3 lots are 1 acre lots. You make a lot more money doing the 1 acre lots. So that's just kind of a note. Let's see. Okay, so if you are an individual home buyer, be thoughtful of the add-ons before. Did I go to the? I'm sorry. Okay, single buyer notes. I'm right here. Okay.
You're good. We can see it.
Okay. If you have a savings and you can purchase your lot, you can use the equity in your lot to purchase your home. So a lot of people think that they have to have, 5% or 20% if you don't want to have PMI, right? 20% down for your manufactured home. But what they don't know is your land can be your 20%. You don't have to have the money. A lot of people don't know that. So say your grandpa gave you a lot, they can gift you the equity in that lot. You don't want the lot to be in your name, well, until you're buying the house, because you don't want it to be a refinance. You want it to be a purchase. So, but they can gift you the equity in the land, and that can be your 20% down on your house, and you won't have mortgage insurance. So I think that's really important to a lot of people, or they have to buy their land and it might take you 2 years to pay off your land, but your land's paid off and you don't even have to have it all the way paid off. You just have to have enough equity in it, 80% equity, so that you really need like 60%, because they're only going to loan you like 80% of the value, and you need to have 20% to put down for your home. So your land can be the equity for your down payment in your home. Does that make sense? Am I going too fast? I do talk fast sometimes. Okay. All right. So the home, as an investor, if you think like you're going to really like this and it's a niche market, so as an investor, you can often take a class. It's only a few days for the class. It costs $1,000 to get your license as a manufactured home dealer. There's not a lot of profit margin in being a dealer, but you can usually make between 5,000 and 20,000 depending on the home. Like a little bitty 2-bedroom home, you might make 5,000. And then you make, 10,000 on the lot. So that deal made you $15,000 after all the costs, which may not sound like a lot, but it might sound like a lot. So then the next time you might want to do a bigger house because like a typical manufactured home will cost, for a real small one, is usually less than 50,000 as a base price. But then you want to think of all the add-ons, like as an individual home buyer, be thoughtful of the add-ons of your purchase because they don't include the setup, leveling your pad site, which you can do yourself. You can go rent a skid steer and get a level. I'm not saying that anybody could just do it like right out of the box, but you can just practice with it, make sure it's level. It might take you a couple days, but you're going to save yourself so much money. And then the underpinning, they have like the cheap metal panels, or they'll do hardy boards so it looks like a real house. But you're really not going to get a higher appraisal for having the real sheetrock or for having hardy board. So if it's a flip property, sometimes it's not really worth putting all those extra things into the house because you really don't get that extra value in your appraisal. And then I also put in here about most cities don't allow the manufactured homes any longer, people wanting affordable homes because the manufactured homes can be less than $200,000, with everything, like all, total finished out. So a 2-bedroom manufactured home, about 1,000 square feet on a small lot, can easily appraise for $175,000. And then so that the less you have to put in it, the cheaper your lot is, the more that you get to make. But right now, for me, and I'm telling all of you, the big money right now is to find land that is unrestricted because there is a cry and a need for affordable housing for low-income people, and people are turning to manufactured homes, and you don't even have to put the home on it. You don't even have to do. Just make sure the utilities are there, and subdivide your lots. You don't have to put fences up or anything. Every lot will sell. You just won't even believe it. It's crazy. Go look at unrestricted lots. They're hard to find. Okay. Lending on manufactured homes. And I can email this or share it somehow, and you guys can all have this. So the lending guidelines below are general, and they vary depending on the person's credit score, their debt to income, and the year of the home. So believe it or not, the VA is the easiest way to get a manufactured home loan. So if you have a veteran looking for an affordable home and it's even been moved, the VA is the only kind of loan that you can get for a manufactured home that has been moved. People will buy land and will have a manufactured home on it, and they don't want it, and so they'll give it away or sell it. When it's put on new property, you go put it on your land and you make it real property. And it's very important. This is like the most important thing I could tell anybody is when you move a manufactured home, the mover does not report to the state a lot of the times that the house has been moved. And so you have to report to your tax office, right? You go up there where you pay your property taxes and say, I just purchased this manufactured home. Here's the numbers on it. I want to register it as real property. And if you don't do that within 60 days, I have found that you can never do it. And so when you go to sell that home, it is not real property. It's like selling a car. It's personal property. And so many people have come to me to help them. And it's really, really hard. You have to almost pretend like you're moving it again to be able to make it real property. And that's kind of hard to do. But Anyway, that's just a little side note that's really super important. So if the home has never been moved, though, it could go FHA. A lot of lenders, I have a lender that says they could do it with a 540 minimum credit score. Most lenders want a 600. You can also have up to 10 acres with that FHA loan with the manufactured home. It can be included with the purchase. Down payment assistance can also be used. If the score is below 580, the down payment is usually 10% instead of 3.5%. And again, the home cannot have been moved. The VA is, like I said, the best. When you do a VA loan, whether it's a house or a manufactured home, a lot of people don't know this, but everybody knows the VA doesn't have to put any money down, right? Like maybe $500 earnest money, no down payment. But a lot of veterans don't know that there's closing costs on the other side. So they're kind of sticker shocked when they have to come up with $7,500 for a $200,000 home for closing costs, and maybe they don't have that. So we always think we have to ask the seller to pay concessions so to make it for the closing costs for the veteran. You can use a down payment assistance program, like there's T-Shack and there's several of them, but the TDHCA, which is the Department of Housing, offers a down payment assistance program that could be used either for down payments or closing costs. And you can piggyback that with a VA loan. So truly a veteran, if the seller's not going to pay any closing costs, which we try to do that first, if they don't want to pay any closing costs or you're being competitive, you don't have to ask the seller to pay closing costs. If they qualify for their credit has to be a 620 or higher, and they can get a down payment assistance program. They can literally getting a home for nothing. They get their $500 back at closing. I mean, it's crazy great. So it's really good to know, and that can go for a house or a manufactured home. Conventional is one of the most difficult loans to get on a manufactured home. You absolutely cannot have the house moved. The house can be as old as 1976. Fannie Mae has a program called the MH Advantage program, and the house has to be in 2018 or newer. That's like their down payment assistance program. And Freddie Mac also has a program called Freddie Mac Choice Home Program, and that's the same rules. Their rules apply the same. Your credit needs to be at least a 620. If it's never been moved and you're not getting a program, the house can be as old as 1976. But if you're going to use a program, it needs to be built in 2018 or newer. USDA is one of my favorite. It helps for people that are not veterans because you can use USDA to buy a home with no money down as well. Then I have, the qualifications or the credit score between 540 and 600, depending on the lender. I have two great lenders that I love. The home can not be older than 2006 and it can never be moved. And if it's a single wide home, that has to do like a manual underwrite because you can't get it to pass if it's a single wide unless the lender that you're working with can do a manual underwrite. So I have on here the link for the USDA. It's such a cool website, and also for FEMA. When you're looking at a manufactured home, in the kitchen under the sink or in the master bedroom closet is a paper, and it has their label and serial numbers on it. But a lot of people take those off over the decades of owning a home and painting and things. So a lot of you probably seen a little metal tag on the outside of a manufactured home. It's on the end, like if you're hauling a trailer, you have the two long ends. It's on the very end. Every section has its own metal tag. So if it's a double wide, there's 2 tags. If it's a triple wide, there's 3 tags. If you can find just one of the tags and you can't read it because they've painted over it, you can take a piece of paper and a pencil and, scrape over it to bring out the numbers on your paper. And it works. You just think of everything. So then you get the number, and then I'm going to take you here. Check this out. This is what it's going to look like. And you can go save this website. I have it on my link. But you put the number, whether you find the label number or the serial number, either one. All you have to have is one of them. And you put it in this little box on their website. Anybody can do it. The lenders use this, the title companies use this. You can use this and be ahead of everybody else. You can be a better realtor because you have this knowledge of not having to wait. As soon as you're going to go look at a property, you can learn all about it by this number. So you go pull up the property, and then and then you can come down here and look, there's two numbers. So what does that tell me? It's a double wide. Each section of it is 13 and a half by 56. So right there you have your square feet, right? Times 2. Then you can come up here and it says no active mortgage liens. And you can check right here and it tells you if they have any tax liens, because you don't want to buy something that's got a lien on it and you didn't know it, right? Because a trailer house is kind of like a personal property, you know. And then you go, has it ever been moved before? And they go, no, I've had this for 40 years and it's never been moved. So you come up here and you look at the original owners. Here's the current owner. Here's where the house is. It's on Turpin Drive. Here's the seller and the previous owner. This matches, but look at that address. It's another address. So the first move comes from the manufactured home dealership to the address. And then if it's ever been moved and it's registered, then you'll see the new address. A lot of them don't even show up at the new address. It's crazy because it looks like it's still at the original place when it's not. So you can come up here at the top, and this is so important. The real property election of this home has not been perfected. That means this home is not real property. You cannot get a loan on this property. So my seller was very surprised when he went to go sell this house that he paid cash for. And he did not know that the move of the house was never registered at the time. Now we did it. That's why the paperwork is done that's registered, but it doesn't matter. You have to do it within like 60 days. And then you have a company come in and it's called a retrofit. And retrofit just means they put it like it was supposed to be foundation wise. They do the tie downs in the ground. They cost about $6,000. Just rough guesstimating, you know, general. But then it could qualify for any kind of loan, you know, well, not if it's been moved, if that's a VA loan, but you can't even get a VA loan if you don't have it retrofitted. So as soon as somebody wants to sell a manufactured home, I ask them, do they have a certificate where the home was retrofitted? Because I know we're going to need it. And a lot of lenders will wait till after the appraisal is done before they ask for it. And it could take you a week or 10 days or something to get it. So you know, to get on the people's list to have it retrofitted. So you don't want to delay in your closing when you could kind of do some homework up front, you know. Oops, sorry about that. And the next thing I was going to was the FEMA flood map. And here you just put in an address and you do a search and you see if the, you know, zone A comes up, that it's in a flood zone, or zone E. You know, you look for anything not in a flood zone. So I always look for that when I'm looking for somewhere to put a manufactured home or do land development. I always check the FEMA map. Okay, so we'll go back to our PowerPoint slide. All right. Okay, things to look for in used manufactured homes. And I kind of went over that just a while ago. So I talked about the where the numbers are located and how to find them and how many sets of numbers. And you can't go by the number listed at the county appraisal district, because sometimes when the homes are moved, the owner does not know they need to let the county know. So when you're paying your taxes or you look at your tax records, it will actually have the old house that used to be there still listed, because they don't check it. You know, they don't usually check it unless it's obvious that a new home had been moved there. So this will be something good for you guys to keep about. They have to register the move within 60 days, and you have to have proof of your permit and things like that for you to be able to make it real property. And it's so important. I have a huge three section manufactured home. You can't even tell it's a manufactured home. These people put it on a real foundation. They've made a huge porch. It's gorgeous. They want like $700,000 for it, only to find out their move was never registered 20 years ago. The company's out of business. I mean, they can't make it real property. It's really crazy. So it's really important. there was just so many things that come up that are so important that I told Amanda, I go, we need to teach a class on this and help people realize what to look for when looking for a manufactured home for somebody, or in developing some land to put manufactured homes on, because they are selling so quickly, and it takes like 90 days to get the home. So you want to, get that lined up as soon as you think you're going to do a replat, or if you just find a lot that's a good price, you can sell it to the manufactured home place because they have buyers. Okay, so one-time close. Everybody's heard of one-time closing when it comes to houses, right? A construction loan. So nobody has been doing one-time closes for manufactured homes. Anders Grove with Supreme Lending, he is the only lender that I know right now that does a one-time close on manufactured homes, and it's even new to them, because I was looking for an investor that wanted to buy manufactured homes up front, or even just one spec home, and put it on one of the lots and sell them, like take orders for them. And the people are pre-qualified, and work with the manufactured home company, but make the money in the middle, become the dealer. And the manufactured home company really takes care of everything. You're just the dealer. And that way you could make an extra, 5 to 20,000. But let's just say you did little tiny trailers and you only made 5,000. But for instance, it was on like these 6 lots that we're doing. So on top of the money that you make $30,000 extra, and that's kind of on a low end. And I'm just getting into this with the manufactured homes, because like I said, I never really wanted to do that before. But right now, anything under 250 sells really quickly, so you could do that. I hope I don't miss anything. Let's see. I think that's about it. I'm ready for questions. Go ahead.
This lender, so in a typical situation, you would have to buy the land first.
Yes.
Then you'd have to pay for the house and put the house on the land, and then someone could qualify for a traditional loan, correct? I know
Well,
this
if they've
lender
already,
doing that for you.
yeah, Anders can do that. I haven't. I just started doing that because the manufactured home dealers want all my lots. And why do they want all the lots? Because they have buyers for all the homes. And so they have like a hard money lender in the middle that even with Supreme Lending, you only pay interest for the 90 days while you're waiting on your home, and then they convert it to a single loan. But otherwise, you do have to buy your lot first, and then you go get the manufactured home, and you use your land as your. Have you seen those signs on the side of the road that says your land is your down payment? That's what it is. You own your land, and your land is your equity for your down payment, because they put a lien on your land, and that's your down payment. It counts the same as cash. So if your land is worth, $100,000, you have $80,000 to put down on your house, if you will. You know what I mean? In other words, you just use your land. You're still borrowing that money. You really just need to borrow the 20% equity in your land to not have any cash down payment on your trailer house, on your manufactured home. So a lot of people can't afford to buy their land, especially now. Land is really high, so they can't afford to buy their land and then turn around and go buy their manufactured home. And they're like, how do I get a loan for a manufactured home that I don't have on land? It's like a circle. The whole thing needs to be put together as a solid ring. And so lenders are just now seeing how hot the manufactured home market is. And they're trying to do one-time closes, but I haven't done one with Anders. I've done lots of home loans, but not a one-time close on a manufactured home. But we are about to do that on this new little subdivision. We're going to put a spec home out there and take orders, because the profit could be greater than 5,000, depending on how much of the work you do. Like a lot of people in this group don't mind going out there and renting a little tractor and making a level spot. They'll charge you like $6,500 for that, when you can spend $500 renting a skid steer and putting a level on the ground and make sure it's level, and a lot of times you also want to water your ground after it's level and then pack it down, because you ever notice like you have a septic system put in and then after it rains, it sinks, the dirt settles. So you want to water your land to make sure it packs down and gets hard. But there's a lot of ways that you can save money when you're doing your own manufactured home. But to help your buyers in the future, or if you do a subdivision, it's good to work with a lender. And when you're selling your lots, you can say, we can do a one-time close. We have a series of homes we could offer. Here's a book of our homes. Here's how much they cost. You know what I mean? You could be the salesperson and make more money doing something different. Like I had to pivot when the houses weren't coming as quickly as I wanted them to. And when I realized when I did this subdivision, I'm like, well, I'm not going to put restrictions on it. So people can put a manufactured home on it. And then I had so many calls. I had so many calls and people that are frustrated that the lots were already sold. I was like, well, I'm going to do another one. I'll take your name. So I did this other one. And I mean, we haven't even closed on it yet, but I have it all drawn out on how I'm going to lay it out. And you have to think about the driveway spacing because a lot of counties want 250 foot between driveways. So then you have shared driveways. So you have to pivot again and you have to make a cul-de-sac. You can't just do all your driveways off the main road. There's a lot to think about, but you're always welcome to ask me things. A lot of people on here know that I've helped you. I don't charge people just to ask me things. But if you really do a whole subdivision and I help with that, I think 25% is not bad because of the profit. And you charge that to your investor. They front the money and you do the work. It's a 25% fee because you're just a realtor at 3%. And you have a lot of work to do doing a subdivision. So it's worth 25%. And if they're going to make, 200,000 and you make 50,000 of that, they've made 150,000 on their money. That's all they did was front their money and make $150,000. And then after you do a couple with them, they're going to be hungry for it. You know what I mean? And then probably they'll want to learn it and not need you anymore, but that's okay because you'll do it again and again and again. It's addictive. Does anybody have any questions?
A lot of info. It's exciting. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Everyone wants your slides. Are you willing to share your slides afterwards?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you'll what do I just email it to you like I emailed it to you?
Yeah, we'll share it out.
Yeah, you can share that to everybody for sure.
Who has questions?
Yes, anybody can ask me anything. I saw Anna put, I've sold a manufactured home with 5 acres. That's good. And a lot of people want to have that 5 acres. And I look at it and I go, I could put I could put a house and a water well and 4 houses out here. That 1 acre could be for the water well and you could have 4 lots that you could have sold the manufactured home and subdivided 4 more acres off of it. You know what I mean? Or really 3 more acres off of it and did 3 more homes on that same 5 acres. And a lot of people don't like that. They like to have the land. But I have to not look at it like that. I have to look at it as a business. It's nothing personal. And an acre is still a good piece of land, but a lot of people don't really like people when you come in and subdivide it. They come to the meetings and it's just terrible. They beat you up pretty good. And you have to be ready for that. And don't be defensive, be understanding and just keep doing it. I mean, that's how it is.
She has a really good eye for dividing land. So like for me, I might see one thing and she'll go, hey, have you thought about this? And you can use the space for that. And now you can add 2 extra houses and you've gained an extra $100,000. So if you guys are working with someone who's looking at land and thinking about dividing it, she can help with that too.
Absolutely. And Anna asked about the manufactured home secured against high winds and heavy rains. That's a great question. So there's a different rating. You have to pay more for a heavier manufactured home. But I've been looking at property down in South Texas, like on Bolivar Peninsula and some of the other places down there. And they require a really heavy, high rated wind. I also went to Colorado and I was looking at some land up there, and the manufactured homes up there have to have the highest rating of anywhere in the country because up in the mountains, the snow is so heavy that they count on the snow buckling in the home. So they make their manufactured homes at an even higher level. So the stronger the home, the more money it is. But you can buy all different levels of manufactured homes, and in different parts of the country, they are made differently. So you would have to order yours like custom if you wanted it down here like that.
So Megan said, I can find land. That's mainly what I do. Do you mentor? Do you have a
Absolutely.
agents?
Girl, if you want to help me look for land, anybody want to help look for large pieces of land, I will work with you. I have buyers right now with money that want to invest. One man sold his cattle farm. He's got money to invest. Some little people, some people only have a couple 100,000, 300,000. That's kind of hard. It's doable, but like I just did this one that was 390. We have it under contract. I foresee on a low end, so I told my investor, I can make them $50,000 on this property. I mean, 200,000, I make 50. I can make 200,000 on this property, and they have to invest 390. So they'll make $150,000 on their 390 investment. I get all my money back. They get all their money back because I'll put in money for like the survey and things like that. I don't charge for my time because my time is the 25% I get paid. But we get all of our expenses back, and then we split the money and I get 25%. Well, I told him 200,000, but I really think it's going to be closer to 300,000. But I don't want to tell them 300,000 fail. I want to tell them 200,000, and that's what they expect. And when I make them more money, they're going to be so excited. Like with the Morrises. I mean, it's like so exciting. There is, somebody asked about the retrofit certificate. If you don't have a retrofit certificate, you can pay an engineer like $600. Gulftex, Gulftex, is the name of a company in the DFW area. I'm not sure if they work Houston, but they likely do. They're the largest retrofit company that I know, but they have engineers that work with them. You could pay the engineer like $600. He'll come out and check the house and make sure it looks good, and he'll get you a certificate. So yes, you can get one. The minimum number of acres to start a small subdivision is 2, right? You can subdivide 2 acres. But it's kind of costly. So, and it's time consuming. So you really want to have 5. I've done lots of 5-acre subdivisions where they all have road frontage. You can come off the street. You're going to have a cluster mailbox. Almost all the counties are making you have mailboxes now. They're not letting you have mailboxes on the street unless the street is existing and all of your houses are on the street already. Then you can have a mailbox on the street. Otherwise, be prepared to spend $2,000 on one of those cluster mailboxes, even if you only have 5 lots. So that's just part of the budget I didn't expect until recently. And most counties are all passing that, that you have to have that. So, I would work in Virginia. I'd have to really learn their laws. I was reading about Colorado laws when I was up there. They are so strict on water. That is such an issue up there. People have to truck in their water. So you just, all the laws are different, but every county is different. So you just have to do your homework in every, I've only done subdivisions in Texas. I'm happy to help you in another state because we can use LandGlide all over the country and kind of draw it out, and we make sure it's not in a flood zone. So I am, and someone wrote, Tony wrote, I have access to 131 acres divided into 3 tracts. Owner finance is available. So yeah, you can have my number. Like my phone number is, whoever doesn't have it, is 832-247-4374, or I can put it in the chat box here, and you guys can text me. Thank you, Sydney. And you're welcome to ask me things. Now, as far as people having land for sale, you pay less for the more acres that you get. And that's the more money, more money that you can make. And this is something else. If you, like this guy, Tony's telling me he's got 131 acres divided into 3 tracts. If you do 10-acre tracts, you can put in like a private road. You don't have to do anything else. It is like the easiest way to subdivide land. So if you had 131 acres, that gives you 13 tracts. And it's really better to do 11-acre tracts because 1 acre is for the home, and then 10 acres will get you an ag exemption, even though you can get an ag exemption with 5 acres for like fruit trees and beehives. But when you get to 10 acres, it could be cows and hay, and it just opens up the door to so many more ag exemptions for you to qualify for. So when you go to sell property and you do huge pieces of land, it's very easy to do 10-acre tracts. You don't have to bring in all the utilities, but have a plan because your buyer is going to be lost. So you already have a plan at how am I going to lay out the electric? And you only want to do a little bit of the electric at a time, or the electric company is going to charge you as a developer. I just ran into this on the Morris Estates. I've never had to pay for electricity to any of my 5-acre subdivisions. And the electric company sent me a bill for $42,000 on this 20-acre subdivision because it was several lots. And so I go back to the electric company and I said, okay, well, I just want to do 2 lots. And then after I do my 2 lots, I'm going to do 2 more lots. So now they're voting on not making me pay that $42,000 because they would rather come in and get the job done all at one time. But every lot gets a credit, like a new construction credit. In Tri-County, the credit is like $7,200 per lot. So, you know, when you do 10 lots, you have over $70,000. Instead of having to pay for the electric, you can get it free. You just have to really make sure you do that right, line that up right. So think about your water and your electric. You can always have a well, and they're going to bring electric to you most of the time, you know, and then you're almost always going to have septic. So just kind of plan on that when you're outside the city limits. Does anybody else have any questions?
It's
Well,
well,
our timing was perfect. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Was somebody saying something? Okay. Well, feel free to text me. I know it was kind of a different subject doing manufactured homes and a little bit of land stuff, but it really is the now. It really is a way to make money right now, big money, but unrestricted. Like before, I was just looking for land to subdivide. But now I see the real need for unrestricted lots. You just can't hardly find them. And when you do find them, look at it. Look at it real close. What's wrong with it? Is it landlocked? Is it in a flood zone? What's the deal with it? Because there's not very many affordable unrestricted homes at all. I mean lots. This is the thing. Thank you. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming. I'm super excited about sharing my knowledge. I'm telling you right now, this is the thing to make really good money at. I do like flipping homes and doing other things, but this is crazy great right now. You could get in and get you an investor, and we could work together and do some of this. You could be making some really great money.
This was awesome. I just put a link to her slides. It's a Basecamp link, but it's a public link, so you guys should have access. So you can kind of go through that, and having that info might end up making you a ton of money, or it might bring you a lot more questions where you want to reach out to her. But this is something that has taken her, I would say, a decade to master, and it's so awesome. And it's impossible to condense into 1 hour. But thank you so much, Suzanne, for your time and for your knowledge.
Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all, everybody. It's so great that we all share to help each other. I mean, that's the big difference for me for EXP is that we help each other, and, you know, we do collaborate. I mean, it is true. And it's not a greedy take everything. I can't tell you how many people, probably people on this group that I have helped and call me and ask me stuff, you know, just as a backup, will you confirm that I'm doing this right? And I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm $500 an hour if you'd ask me a question. I don't charge you anything. If you take up a lot of my time, I'll tell you I like chocolate. But, you know, I really feel like my purpose on earth is to help people. And I mean, I want to make a living too, but I also want to share things that I know are now and are money makers. And I want to help other people. I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to give up in real estate. You know, it's tough right now, and sometimes we have to pivot. Now you need to dig, use the land glide, use the appraisal district, look for empty land that just sitting there. It's got an old trailer on it. Doesn't have anything. Start digging. Send them to me. I'll help you and we can keep going.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Reach out to her if you need anything. I'll put her email address in here as well. And
Sounds
then
good.
we'll do this again next Tuesday. I don't know who's teaching. Sydney, who's teaching next Tuesday?
Janet is
Janet, I'm so excited on new construction.
about value proposition for buyers.
That's
Should
amazing.
be a good class.
So every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, this same link, share with your friends. Thank you, Suzanne. I hope you guys all have such a blessed week. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.